Good afternoon. My name is Natalie Brown. I'm a second grade exemplary rated teacher at Frank Guzik Elementary School in Dallas ISD, where I have taught for 13 years. I am one of 26 DISD Distinguished Teacher Ambassadors, whose main charge is to mentor, guide, and support teachers who are eligible to apply for the Distinguished Teacher status. I have also served as a TEI campus expert since the Teacher Excellence Initiative was implemented in 2014. I owe part of my success to a teacher from Corsicana, Texas, who loved what she did and saw potential in students who were hard to like. Miss Avery took a student who other students didn't hang around much. He was often dirty, from digging through trash cans to find food for himself and his siblings to ensure they wouldn't go hungry that day. She bought him clothes and new shoes when the ones he was wearing were too worn out to be functional anymore. Every chance she got, she would remind him that his current circumstances, while they were difficult, were temporary. She encouraged him to focus on his education, as it would be the key to a better life. That little boy was my husband, who now serves in upper management for one of the world's largest retailers. Our family will forever be grateful to Miss Avery for the investment she made in a kid who others used to call Dirty Brown. To us, she is worthy of every dollar in this finance budget, for what price can you put on changing someone's life? I do my best to channel Miss Avery with my students, to give kids like Abigail hope for a better future when she worries about family separation due to deportation. She often says leaving school is her least favorite part of the day. I have extra pairs of shoes in my classroom closet to give Trey when the ones he has wear out from walking around, killing time with his family before they go back to the local homeless shelter for the evening. They are why I'm so humbled to be able to speak in front of you today. I'm thrilled that the School Finance Commission, Chairman Huberty, and members of this committee have indicated a dedication to making significant and strategic investments in public education. I want to call out a few items that I particularly support. First, pass legislation that will provide funding for increasing Texas teachers' salary so that we aren't making $7,000 less than the national average. The investment Dallas ISD has made in its teachers is unmatched by any other district in the state. Through strategic compensation, student achievement has increased simultaneously with the increase in teachers' salary, and the retention of effective teachers is in the 90th percentile. In short, our students are doing better, and our teachers are not only staying in the profession, but they're choosing to stay in Dallas. The stability this creates not only benefits our students, but also our communities and the state as a whole. Texas often boasts and is known for its strong economy and attractiveness to businesses, yet we have shortchanged the funding used to educate our future workforce and teachers who are given the task to prepare them for it. As an exemplary rated teacher, a rating reserved for the top 2% of teachers out of a workforce of 10,000, strategic compensation has allowed me to stay in the classroom by substantially increasing my salary over a 3-year period. Many teachers pursue administrative jobs for financial reasons, despite their love for the classroom. However, TEI and the commitment by the district to financially award teachers for their performance in the classroom has provided a pathway for the district's most effective teachers to do what they love, teach. Secondly, allocate resources and funds for our high-need students to ensure access to equitable education that provides a strong foundation so that they can grow into contributing working citizens. A third-grade reading allotment for all K-3 students who are low-income or English language learners would ensure and reward quality early childhood programs that will better prepare our students for future successes and increase literacy rates. Similar investment has paid off in Dallas, where our gains in third-grade reading were higher than that of the state. Investing in our younger students in a proactive way will help close proficiency gaps and allow more students to enter third grade on grade level. In closing, ensuring high quality, whether it be an education or a product we choose to buy, requires strategic investment. School districts all across the state are in need of additional funds to ensure programs and incentives that work are sustainable through the long term. The data from these programs implemented by Dallas ISD is well known, and I'm proud to represent my district. It is the reason that a district with over 100,000 students and the most diverse student population in the state is able to earn a B rating. If you were surprised by the advancements Dallas ISD made and the rating it earned, chances are you probably aren't a teacher. We believe in tackling the impossible every day, and the rewards are the successes of our students and our community. Investing in public education works, and I thank you for your commitment to doing so.
Great job. Questions for her?
Sure.
Yeah.
Can you describe your campus? Is it just a traditional
My campus is a normal neighborhood school, no
Okay.
additional, it's not
Is it
ACE,
an A-
it's a
it's not an
Title
ACE?
I school.
Okay.
Yeah, just a normal
How many
student.
teachers are rated you said you're an exemplary? Is that the
So I'm
rating?
exemplary. I know that we have about 25% distinguished. So distinguished could be proficient 2, proficient 3, or exemplary. So I don't necessarily know everybody's rating, but I do know that we're at 25% distinguished teacher status.
25% of the teachers at that campus are
25% teachers at campus. So it is possible with just a normal neighborhood Title I school.
Yeah. Do other teachers know each other's ratings?
So I don't know their particular ratings. We know who's distinguished or not because I help all teachers who are eligible for distinguished teacher status to apply. So help them through the application process, all their leadership, things like that.
And how long have you been? Have you been at that campus since the TEI was rolled out?
I have. I've been at that campus for 13 years since it opened. So
Okay.
before TEI and...
Can you comment just real quick on your opinions about the culture on that campus with this new strategic compensation system? I'm curious
So
about...
I was really surprised to hear a lot of the other people talk about how it negatively impacts culture because that's not the case on my campus. If you go to my campus, and I think every administration is responsible for setting that tone, but the culture on my campus is very much like we're all winning. So we're all building this together. It's not me versus you. It's let me help you get distinguished too, or let's work on this TEK and let's get your scores. Like, we're very open at my campus. So teachers come to me all the time. I'm this 1 point away from getting a distinguished teacher status. What can I do? Where can I improve? What PD do I need to take to improve a certain area that I'm low in that I can get more points next time? So I don't necessarily see the competitive nature on my campus.
Last question, Mr. Chairman. Before this was put in place, did you have any designation or distinction for being for the quality of your teaching?
None. And so I was 7 years in. I think at the time my salary had been frozen for about 4 years. And even though I was grade level chair, even though I was on SILT, even though I was a mentor teacher, I was making less than a first year teacher. First year teacher could come in with no responsibilities, no mentoring, nothing, and they were making more than me just due to the pay disparity and my salary being frozen. So it benefited me greatly just because of all the other things that I was doing.
Okay. I appreciate being here.
Yeah, Representative Bernal.
Since you've been at the same campus for so long, one of the things we hear about Title I campuses generally is they have a hard time keeping teachers, that there's a lot of attrition and turnover. And one, was that the case in your campus prior, and how has this program affected that aspect of the campus?
So a majority of my campus has been there 10 years or longer. Of course, we lose 4 or 5 maybe every year, just depending on whether they're doing other things. But the majority of my colleagues have been there for 10 plus years.
Okay, thanks, Chairman.
Other questions for her? Yeah, Representative Meyer.
And I know it may be anecdotal, but obviously you have first-hand experience with your campus. Have you spoke with other DISD teachers at other campuses about TEI and the effect on it? Because we've heard some, when I speak to the teachers in Dallas, generally across the board, I'm sure, there's certain areas of it they'd like to see changed up a little bit. By and large, a good number of teachers are pretty excited about the program. However, we've certainly heard from some groups from around the state who are not thrilled with the idea of it being implemented statewide. So I just didn't know if anecdotally you spoke with other teachers and they were having the same experience you have had.
So yes, I would say before when TEI was coming around, I was skeptical too. I mean, no teacher wants to be told, hey, your kids are going to take a test and that's going to determine your pay, knowing that it can go up and down. But I will say the one thing I think that's important, I think as teachers get more educated about how the system works, is the way that those tests are measured. So we're not just given a passing percentage. So every test our students take is measured 3 different ways. So I think when teachers start to learn that you can get points for growth, you can get points for peer comparison. We still have the CEI, which is the traditional way that we were measured effectiveness before TEI. And then you have a passing rate. The more that teachers are able to understand how the process works, I think they can better understand how it applies to them.
Okay, and if you could say you're in charge, is there anything you'd change about TEI?
The one thing that I'm just speaking on myself, not for my campus or anybody else. The one thing I particularly don't like, and this doesn't even apply to me because I don't have this component in my pie, but is student surveys. I think if you guys were to give a survey to your constituents and they were in charge of 15% of your pay, that feedback may not be accurate of what you try to do for them. Or I think if you were to get a survey after a police officer gives you a ticket, even if you were in the wrong, you may not have a high favor to say about a particular officer. So I think student surveys is one area that should be looked at when it comes to TEI. Just because we're giving some kids as young as 8, years old, 15% control of their teacher's salary would be the one area that I think could be improved.
Any thoughts on a replacement component?
Sure, I would say teacher leadership. So even though that's measured in distinguished teacher status, the things that you do to give them extracurricular activities, to involve students in other engaging things outside academics, I think could be replaced for that 15%.
Very good, thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
You teach second grade?
Teach second grade math and science.
What is the student evaluation? How is it given to students at that grade level?
Okay, so 65% of my evaluation comes from my observations.
Sure.
So my principal comes and evaluates me. 25% is from my tests,
Sure.
Standardized testing. 5% is from School Star. And then another 5% is my own student learning objective, something I would like to personally grow in my students that I give a pre and a post test on.
But you said student evaluations is part of your...
Student evaluations is not a part of mine.
Oh, it's not.
But I would think that's one area that I get the most complaints
got
about
it.
talking to other teachers.
I apologize. Thank you.
So let me go back. I want to make sure I'm clear on this. 65% of your, you sat and listened to this all day.
Yeah.
And you heard some of the teacher groups that came in, one in particular that talked about this. You're okay with the system the way it's set up? I mean, you okay with the way that it's being graded today and even having some of the STAR tests being counted towards your score?
I don't know that I'm okay, but I've seen that it can be, right now in Dallas, the way that they're giving it multiple measures, so it's not, if you were just to say we're only going to grade how many kids pass STAR,
Right.
I would say that's unfair.
Right, sure.
I think if you create a system that gives multiple measures for whatever test you create, to give teachers the highest benefit from one of those three,
Right.
including a growth metric, that to me would be the right way to do it, which is how Dallas is doing it.
And how are you measuring growth right now?
So there's really complicated. One of them requires one previous year of tests. So a student would have to have taken a first grade math test to measure their growth from first grade math to now second grade math is one of the areas. The other area requires 2 years previous testing to compare them to their peers. So students are placed in buckets. Low students, for the lack of a better term, middle students, high students. And you grow them regardless of what tier they're in. If they grow more with you than the other kids that they're measured against in their bucket, you earn points for them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I hope so. Okay.
Interesting. So, as we progress through this, and you hear from people that say you can't do that, or you can't do that for the teachers and things of that nature, what do you say back to them?
I would say that I'm proof that you can be a veteran teacher. You can teach Hispanic and African American kids in a Title I school and still be an exemplary rated teacher. TEI increased my salary $30,000 over 3 years. Can't be stated for a lot of other professions or a lot of other districts in this state. And it allows me to stay in the classroom and continue to make that impact year after year.
Thank you.
Can I just take one comment?
Yeah, sure, of course you can.
Sorry.
Of course you can.
Just because I heard some other superintendents say some things too. I think if you're a great teacher, you shouldn't just get like an accolade or like, hey, we're going to give you more students to work before and after school. That doesn't pay my bills or pay my student loans.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that's one really pro about the Dallas ISD program is that it's actually things that we can use. It's not like, hey, come before school or like one chunk of money that has a lot of taxes taken out. Like it's something we can use every month. So
Makes sense.